I'm not gonna lie, getting a job now feels impossible. And I know loads of older people love saying stuff like, oh, just walk in and hand them your CV. But like, who am I actually handing it to exactly? The receptionist with an iPad who's going to tell me to scan a QR code that just takes me to their website? Because there's always just extra steps for anything now. And the job that you want and seems somewhat achievable ends up sounding impossible at the end. Entry level jobs would be asking for 3 years experience, a degree, 3 Google course certificates, fluency in 3 languages, and preferably you've solved world hunger. Like realistically, if I had all these qualities and experience, I would not be applying for a 24k junior marketing assistant role. The CV bit is annoying as well. You upload it, but then you have to manually type it into more boxes straight after. Education, previous work, skills, references, your birth coordinates. Like, what was the point in uploading my CV in the first place? And some applications genuinely take like 45 minutes for a job that you're probably going to get ghosted from anyways. Speaking of, that leads me to ghost jobs. These ones are actually really annoying. You apply, hear absolutely nothing, and then 3 months later you get a, unfortunately we've decided to move forward with other candidates. And that's if they're even polite enough to let you know. But some just ghost you completely. But when they do, I've graduated, changed hairstyles, and live a completely different life since I applied. And it gets even worse when the job gets reposted. Like, you're telling me that I wasn't good enough, but apparently no one else was either. If you're lucky enough to make it, next is the interview process. Why does every company act like NASA now? You got phone interview, Zoom call, assessment task, final interview, penalty shootout, all for a role that's paying for like 26k. And don't get me started on those personality tests. Like, why am I taking a BuzzFeed quiz just to work here? Like, which statement best describes you? A, natural born leader. B, thrive in fast-paced environments. C, work well under pressure. D, I've lost the will to live. It genuinely feels like I'm on tipping point and Ben Shepherd's going to reward me with counters to potentially win the jackpot. But who actually answers these honestly? You're obviously going to pick the one that they want to hear, but apparently that isn't even good enough most of the time. Every company wants someone who is passionate, but I can't lie, no one grows up dreaming of becoming an administrative assistant for a random company called something like Blue Peak Solutions Limited. Another funny one is the salary. You finally get through all 18 rounds of interviews and they hit you with the salary competitive. Like, why are you being mysterious about that? Just tell me so I'll know if it's worth it. And half the time the salary is like 24k in London. And I can't lie, in this economy, 24k is getting you nowhere. And you're probably going to be losing money over time with things like rent, commuting and food. You'll check your bank account on payday and somehow be left with £4.72. But you know, at least that's enough for a Tesco meal deal, right? Well, as long as you don't have the premium one. People wonder why everyone wants to become a streamer, influencer, YouTuber, or a reseller. But it makes sense. It just seems a lot easier than all this madness. Traditional jobs now feel like you need to complete 14 side quests just to unlock the opportunity to maybe earn enough to rent a 1-bedroom flat. Older people will say that this generation doesn't want to work anymore, but I can't lie, they just don't want to complete Squid Game challenges all for an entry-level salary.